car, as we learn, is a Kryptonian weapon used and abused by Brainiac. And Brainiac has manipulated her to bring about the return of the Kryptonian Empire. You know, they have a father-daughter relationship, and Brainiac, throughout this entire season, emotionally, psychologically, and physically abuses her. But now, my friends, I want to go ahead. I want to move on to something I'm actually super excited to talk about, that I'm happy about. And that is My Adventures with Superman Season 2. Now, I haven't hidden the fact that I'm a big fan of the first season of My Adventures with Superman. As I've said before, it came out during a period where a lot of Superman content has portrayed the Man of Steel as apathetic or even malevolent, most notably in the DCEU and Zack Snyder's DC superhero films. I would argue that Warner Bros. And Zack Snyder ruined many people's perceptions of Superman for a whole generation of people, for 10 years, certainly cinematically. And as a lifelong fan of Superman and his world and his supporting characters, allies, and villains, that did not sit well with me. Nor did it sit well with other Superman fans. There is a generation of people that thinks Superman is a moody, brooding, angsty psychopath that snaps necks, mopes, and knocks down entire skyscrapers filled with hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent people. Now, despite the bastardization of Superman cinematically, we have gotten some other good Superman content in other places, you know, especially with stuff like Superman and Lois and some animated films. I haven't finished all of Superman and Lois, but what I've watched of it, you know, I watched all of season 1. I really liked it. I watched like half of season 2, but I fell off because at the time I was just so busy, so many things going on. Eventually I want to, go back to that show and finish it off because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great to portray Superman, Clark and Lois as, well, not only a married couple, but also as parents. As a mother and father to two boys. I really liked that aspect. It felt like a nice progression for the character instead of just kind of keeping him the same way all the time. It's like, yeah, what would Superman and Lois be like as a well, of course, as a husband and wife, and we've seen that, but as a father and a mother. And what I saw of the show, what I have seen of the show, I think portrayed that wonderfully. And it captured the wholesomeness of Superman, except with a wonderful family dynamic. But then you've also had great animated adaptations of Superman over the last, couple of years. I know there's been some recent Superman films. I watched one of them, which was Man of Tomorrow, which I enjoyed. But then you've gotten some adaptations of some notable Superman storylines and graphic novels. I really liked the adaptation for All-Star Superman, which is written by Grant Morrison. It kind of just pays respect. It's a nice homage to Superman's entire history, and he does certain things that he's always wanted to do because he doesn't have that much time left. Based on certain things that are happening in the book. I don't want to spoil it if people haven't read it, but Morrison really understood what defines Superman, and he captured that so well in that book. And I felt like the filmmakers did a great job, for the most part, adapting it, right? But we also have My Adventures with Superman and its most recent season, its second season. And I'm not going to lead you on about how I feel about this season. It is wonderful. It's wonderful and embraces the foundational elements that make Superman and his supporting characters who they are. But it also plays around with the mythologies of these characters in such a refreshing way. It's both reverent of the past, respectful of it even, but also plays around with the aesthetics and makes this version of Superman and his supporting players stand head and shoulders next to some of the best animated and live action adaptations of these characters. Jack Quaid is the voice of Clark Kent and Superman. Of course, Jack Quaid has popped up in a ton of stuff over the years. I think all the way back in the Hunger Games, he was like one of those people fighting in the arena. But seeing him pop up obviously in The Boys, which was probably one of his big breakout roles, his role in Scream 5 I thought was quite good. But man, he does such a great job portraying Superman and Clark Kent. And for this particular season, so much of it is focusing on how isolated he feels, how lonely he feels. He's introduced himself into this, to this world and has been embraced by other people. But because of all these, villains popping up, all these threats are popping up, a lot of people, and he's fighting all these threats. A lot of people are blaming him for what's going on. A lot of people view him as a threat, as an enemy, and it's messing with his head. It's messing with his relationships and his desire, and it forces him to try to reach out, even though it's through dangerous means, to perhaps the last vestiges of his Kryptonian heritage, which is his cousin Kara, which I'll get into in just a bit. But speaking of his relationships, we also have Alice Lee, who is the voice of Lois Lane, and this Lois Lane is she's great. She's adorable. I mean, yeah, she like past Lois Lanes, she is this little spitfire. She is very blunt. She's always trying to get the story. She's a passionate, earnest, and honest journalist. But we see her in this season being very frustrated, dealing with trust issues, particularly with her father. A lot of daddy issues this season. A lot of characters have daddy issues for this particular season, these, last however many episodes. And I really liked her interactions with her father, and you've seen what her growing up was like, and because he didn't really understand her, or he wasn't what she needed at the time, that kind of molded her into the person that she is now. But it's made her self-confident. It's affected her self-confidence and her other relationships. And and I like that. It made her question what she wanted, what she perceives as real. And then we have Ishmael Saeed as Jimmy Olsen, and man, this is one of the best depictions of Jimmy Olsen of all time. This Jimmy is not a fifth wheel, okay? He's not a joke sidekick character. He's funny, he's humorous, but he gets more to do in this show than just anything else I've ever seen the character in. Like thinking about all the the movies with Jimmy Olsen and even some of the past animated shows, they do some great stuff with him. He has an arc, and his relationships of a bunch of characters deep, and he affects the futures, inspires even some nefarious characters in the season, namely Lex Luthor. But a lot of what Jimmy does, this kind of all leads to Kara Zor-El, later Supergirl and Brainiac. And, speaking of highlights, Jack, both Kara and Brainiac, who are featured from episode 5 and on, basically the back half of the episodes are of the season. But basically the back half of the episodes are the standouts for this season, because so much of it just revolves around their dynamic and relationship, and how abusive and twisted it is. Kiana Mandera is the voice of Kara Zor-El, Supergirl. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Initially, she goes to Earth searching for Clark. He sends out a message. He obtains this technology from earlier episodes, and he wants to contact her. It's a means to contact Kryptonian ships, right? And she arrives on the planet, pretty much a fish out of water, doesn't know how anything works. She's just I'm trying to find the leader of Earth, right? She's very intense. Maybe a little bit of Thor in there, too, for the first Thor movie. But she meets Jimmy, Jimmy Olsen, who she mistakes for the leader of Earth, because he's like, I run Flamebird and all that. She's like, oh, you are the Flamebird. He's like, yeah, that's right. And it's adorable, because it starts out super wholesome with them. And they go out pretty much on a date. And Jimmy like introduces her to all the wonderful things on Earth, namely food. You know, she's a very hangry girl. And he introduces her to chocolate chip and ice cream. She's like, "What is this delicious thing? It is a treat." And he's like, "Yeah, right." And it's super cute what they do with them. And it's like, wow, I guess I never realized like, oh, starting like a relationship, a romantic relationship between Kara and Jimmy, it would be so wonderful. And it's like, yeah, this is exactly what this series, and it's something that I think Jimmy needs as well. Have him interact, not always going off of what Lois is doing or Clark is doing. Like, have Jimmy have a major role in this, interacting with this type of character and helping her throughout it. But this inevitably leads to a conflict with Clark, who again is kind of being exploited by Metropolis and this like TV show and the culture all surrounding it and things. And Kara sees this, and Clark mistakenly, accidentally, dismisses her, not knowing who she is. And this sets up a huge conflict and a revelation about Kara and Krypton and what they were, and Brainiac. Kara, as we learn, is a Kryptonian weapon used and abused by Brainiac. And Brainiac has manipulated her to bring about the return of the Kryptonian Empire. They have a father-daughter relationship, and Brainiac, throughout this entire season, emotionally, psychologically, and physically abuses her. Also, this is probably the best adaptation of Brainiac since maybe Superman the Animated Series and Justice League, right? Because he's featured in there as well. Where the character was voiced by Corey Burton. Corey Burton did a fantastic job, right? In this case, he's voiced by Michael Emerson, who you guys might have seen in Lost, in Person of Interest, in Saw, tons of other projects. More recently, he was in the Fallout TV series, and he does an amazing job playing Brainiac. His origins is somewhat similar to the Superman animated series one, where in that show, the original 90s show, Brainiac was a construct, was an AI created by Krypton, by Kryptonian scientists, and meant to run the planet and everything. And he basically is hiding as he gets so evolved. He's like, oh, he becomes obsessed, absorbing all this information, and he's learned enough about the planet. He's like, all right, well, whatever. And so even though the planet is having all these issues and its destruction is inevitable, he hides all that, and he actually, quickens its demise. They do something similar where this Brainiac is also a creation of Krypton, of Kryptonian scientists. And where that original Brainiac was, very, very cold and cool and calm and collected, like never raised his voice. He was just like, he was intense, but he spoke very matter of fact. This Brainiac is a psychopath, and he can't control himself. And as soon as you meet him, it's just like, there's something off about this guy, about this robot. Like, he's spiteful, he's vindictive, and always genocidal. He's just giggling to himself. He's always doing this, like when he's trying to figure out, he's not stupid, but he's not like I'm always present myself like I know exactly what's going on in any given moment. Always this, cool, calm air about him. Like, no, he's just like, I have to figure this out. It's like, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. I'm just gonna take over your mind. And it's just like, what the hell, And I love, and because he himself, much like Krypton, much like the Kryptonian Empire, which was like kind of this fascist regime, which I think was really cool. Similar to actually Zack Snyder's, which I actually like, to give Zack Snyder a compliment. You're thinking like, Chris, you never do that. It's like, I'll give him a compliment here. I liked his depiction of Kryptonian society, making it like kind of like a fascist civilization, obsessive conquering and things. They do that here. And Brainiac was pretty much the means to proliferate that empire. But because the Kryptonian Empire, was constantly in war and conflict, it led to the degradation of society, and it also led to the degradation, led to Brainiac becoming what he is now, which is kind of like this giggling, insane AI that just can't keep it together anymore and lashes out at anyone he perceives as well, of course, a threat, or anyone that defies his orders. He's obsessed with compliance. You must comply, and he does that constantly with Kara, and then later on some other characters too. But it's such a unique way to play Brainiac that we haven't gotten before. And again, it was respectful of Brainiac's history, of one of my favorite adaptations of Brainiac all time, the Superman 8 series, but they just added a little more to his personality. And Michael Emerson's just inflections and cadence, the way he talked, along with like the reverb and like the stuff they layered on top of his voice work, it just worked for me. It was great. And of course the animation in general, like on the technical side, like that's all the story stuff. Like all the story stuff, especially like episode 5 on, like, episodes 1 through 4 are pretty much like, oh, it's kind of like more episodic. It's like fun. This is cool. It's like, Lex Luthor's in the background. He's doing his thing. Task Force asks Amanda Waller, all that. But episode 5 on, we get some, obviously, a wonderful storytelling, great character moments, great depictions of these people. But the animation in this season is spectacular. Like, the fight sequences are beautiful, especially all the stuff that they do, like with Brainiac and of course of Superman and Kara and their conflicts with each other. They play with reality. And how Brainiac is changing reality. He's basically able to go inside people's minds, take control of them, present them with things that aren't real, trap them. Really, kind of like the Matrix in a way. And a lot of the action sequences really stood out to me. And then, lastly, they even take some older characters from the previous seasons, maybe some old villains, and they do something new with them. We see some returning faces and how they're used. It doesn't feel like a gimmick. It doesn't feel like an Easter egg. It feels natural to the story and actually makes these characters more interesting and makes me excited to see kind of how their dynamics are going to be in subsequent seasons, which we know this is going to get a 3rd season, and I'm very excited for it. But the crazy thing is, like, so much of this season, like, it just kind of wraps up, like, literally to the point where this could have been the finale. Like, there's only one particular aspect that's just like, all right, we're setting up for season 3. But even with that aside, right, this could have been like, all right, we're done. We're done telling the story, and this is it. And it would have acted as a wonderful send-off to this interpretation of Superman and these characters and what they've gone through. But we are getting to season 3. And then lastly, the thing that I've said before when talking about the show, it's made me feel the same way that, in a way that I haven't felt in a long time, but it's made me feel the same way that I do about the DCAU. It's like, you got something that's really cool, that's really good here. And I would love it if this is the jumping off point for a new DCAU. I mean, as you guys know, I would love to return to the DCAU. I think we can do that. I think we can tell more stories in that world. There's no question about that. If I had my fucking way, we would do that. But I don't have my way for all sorts of things. But you have a chance to do that. And I feel like, and I talked about this in my Discourse episode with both Osnick and Deadpool. I encourage you guys to check that out on the Patreon. Wonderful discussion with both, and they brought up some fantastic points. And Deadpool, was one of the first, and Osnick were like, hey, let's have this be the jumping off point to a whole new universe. Let's do My Adventures with Batman, where it's from the perspective of Robin, right? Let's do, My Adventures with Wonder Woman, where it's Steve Trevor with, Wonder Woman. It's more spy-oriented stuff, right? You could do Green Lantern, where it's a buddy cop story between Hal Jordan and Sinestro. And you could do those, and then you eventually all leads to My Adventures with the Justice League. They can do that. And but with how things are, Warner Brothers and DC in general, like, you never know. The David Zaslav of it all. You just don't know. James Gunn apparently is very supportive of the show. Matter of fact, he was promoting it on social media and talking about it. And I was like, man, that just charmed the hell out of me. That also just, not that I was concerned at all, but it makes me even more enthused and more encouraged and more excited to see his Superman movie next year. Because it's just like, oh, if he's loving this show and what they're doing, then I think his movie is going to be doing the same exact things. Which, again, I go back to this. These writers, and also James Gunn, they seem to have a fantastic understanding on the foundational elements that define Superman and his supporting characters, right? But at the same time, they can also try new things. They can change like the aesthetics, maybe play around with the mythology, make it feel fresh. But they always adhere to what defines these people, what makes them so special. And it like the last thing that is constantly emphasized in the last episode, which is great, which is a wonderful finale, is and even the penultimate episode when Superman is in conflict with Brainiac. You know, Brainiac is trying to exploit his kindness, trying to exploit his love, saying it's a weakness. And Superman's like, those things don't make me weak. My kindness and my love for my friends and my family and my home, my planet and the people that I want to protect, that's what makes me strong. And your fear of that's what makes you weak. And I'm just like, fuck yeah. and I'm just like, yes, this is what we need. This is what Superman needs to be. This is what he needs to be for a generation. To undo the damage that happened. And this is a great step towards that. It's a wonderful step. It's a wonderful show. It's a wonderful show, and one that I highly recommend people check out. Both season 1, season 2 are available on HBO Max, or whatever the hell they're calling it now. You know, I'm sure you can watch it through other means as well if you can't, subscribe to HBO Max. But man, this is a great show, and I loved it. And I can't wait for season 3. Very excited for it. Very excited. What about you guys? I'm curious. Have you been watching My Adventures of Superman? Did you like the previous season? Did you like season 2? Or did you not like it? Let me know. I know for some people that they may not like the anime style, but I do like the anime style because it's something different. Again, the aesthetics. They're playing around with the aesthetics. But again, let me know.
5 minutes later.
A lot of xenophobe. Oh my God. Like Lex Luthor is like, what does he say? It's like Earth for Earthlings. And he gets just like, he's trying to get everyone motivated for that, which is great. Also, I love how Jimmy basically, he influences Lex Luthor. He inspires Lex Luthor. It's just like, oh no. Oh no, that's not good. Oh man. Yeah, a lot of xenophobia. 100%. Jimmy's a very important character this season. He really is. Yeah, he is, and especially this season, his relationship with Kara is adorable. It's great. Kara's food, yeah, she's a major foodie. She's hangry. Just give her a Snickers or some chocolate chip mint ice cream, and she'll be good for a little while, but she'll get hangry again. Yeah, I like this ice cream. Another Car Smasher Sunday, but I honestly thought you brought that up, Deadpool. Like we could almost see her do that. She doesn't do that, but it's like kind of similar vibe. Brainiac is such a fucking asshole in this, but I love him. I hate him, and I love him. He's so great. Hi, my name is Lois, and you're my boyfriend. Yeah, that's right. That's so cute. Yeah, they got some great moments between Clark and Lois. And listen, if you love wholesome, smoochy, huggy, interactions between Superman and Lois Lane, this show's got so many scenes of that. It's like it's all over the place. It's like, this is so good. It's so good. It's so well earned. I love it. Ash Herman wasn't able to join you guys there, but whatever you guys said, ditto. Yeah, KC, good to see you. I'm doing well, man. I just talked about a show I love. I was mixed on House of the Dragon season 2, but talking about this made me a lot more happier. But good to have you, Casey. How you doing? Good boy. I want a whole episode of Clark and Kara playing. Yeah, it's so great. Yeah, no, I think season 3. I think they're gonna definitely do more of them, and I can't wait for that. Yeah, she's a great character, and it's just a new inspired take on Super. Now I know they've kind of played around with the whole idea of her being a weapon and her being negatively influenced and stuff in some adaptations. There was like this animated movie way back when. It was called Superman and Batman Apocalypse, and it revolved around Darkseid manipulating Kara. I can't be sure, but correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like that was out there. And I know that there's this recent book that's, as far as I know, is being used as the basis for the upcoming Supergirl movie after Superman, where it's like she was stranded on an asteroid. She watched everyone around her die, and she had a very different, life. How she grew up was very different from Clark's. So they might go for something a little darker with her. But this is the darkest they've ever gone with Supergirl, but it really worked for me. And I don't want to say too much about what she experiences or what she does. It's sad. It's like, oh man, it's gonna messes with her mind. And with the things that Brainiac does, he says some nasty shit to her. He really does. And you get like certain scenes where you see her as a little kid and he's saying some of these awful things. It's like, wow. It's great. It's great. I like the fake out they did in the previous season finale where it made people think it was going to be Brainiac working with Zod. Yeah, which happened is, that was cool too. You think it's like, oh, it's Brainiac working with Zod. It's like, not at all. I like that. We were talking about that during Discord Discourse too, and we talked about how, maybe they changed their mind supporting production. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'd actually love to ask them, the creators. But what they ended up doing I think was better than what could have been. In all honesty, because it's like, all right, Zod again, whatever. They actually combine a bit of Zod into Brainiac. Like there's certain things like kneel before me, a lot of that, Yeah, I wonder, but I like that. I like they threw us for a loop and had it where it was Carr instead of Zod. That was great. Who's to say that we won't get Zod, in the next season? Although I think I have an idea of what's going to be happening in the third season. But we'll see. Physical Boy, I think it's amazing. I remember back then I might have sounded a little harsh on the anime style, but I was coming off of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur at the time, which had more unique animation style. The animation on both seasons, especially this one, is still top notch, especially with the action scene. Yeah, no, I think I didn't have an issue with it. Some people I know do not like the anime style for this, and okay, that's fair. It's an aesthetic thing, but for me it worked. And even when it indulged in the very anime aspects where you even have moments where the characters in the goofier comedic section, like Chibi or whatever, but it didn't bother me at all. I liked it. And what they do in the action scenes and how intense they are and how brutal they are, it worked. It worked. I still haven't watched the show yet, but I want to. Just haven't yet. I recommend it, Jarvie. I encourage you. Hope I didn't give too much away, but at the very least, I hope my review made it sound really good, because it is. I think it is really good. I recommend it. Book is called Supergirl Woman Tomorrow. That's what it is. And been wanting to read that before the movie. I want to read that too. I actually want to read that. I want to check that book out as well. Just kind of get an idea of like, okay, what are we going for? But if the movie's anything like this, then I'm like, I'm game. Casey, I like the show, but I'm working on catching up with it. I'm still in season 1. I love the development of the characters and the better way in which we see the portrayal of each character in the show. Very happy to hear that the show is very good. Oh, very good season. I think I like season 2 more than season 1. I do. I think from episode 5 all the way to 10, it's great. And even episodes 1 through 4 is good, but episodes 5 through 10 is like something on another level to me. It's not as episodic. That's the other thing I will say, which maybe that might bother people. Some people might like the whole villain of the week, creature of the week angle. I thought it was cool from like episode 5 all the way up to episode 10. It was kind of focused on, I mean, Lois and Jimmy are involved, of course, but it was very much all around Brainiac and all around Kara and Kal-El and what they were going through. And it really worked. Let's see here. I hope Darkseid appears next season, since we did see Paradigm. We see a lot of things. That's what the show does so well. It doesn't do these obvious Easter eggs. It's just like, okay, that thing's there. It's there. We're not going to like have like a moment where we're just going to keep the camera on and go like that. But yeah, you see some stuff like that, parademons and some other cool things. And reference some planets and worlds. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff, chat. And I recommend it. What happens at the end of the season? Well, I don't want to give too much away. But I think it's a very strong finale. What they do with all the characters and their conflict with Brainiac, and has a really as I said before, it ends in such a way where they could have been like, all right, this is it. And I wonder if they did that just in case. Like, we might not get another season. Let's just end it. There's only like one thing I was like, oh, that'll lead to something. All I'll say is it involves Lex Luthor, right? Right. Alex. But how everything wraps up is very fulfilling for each character. It worked for me. I love the adaptation of Superman. Let's get my... I want that too. Apparently, Osnick had told me this. There's like this no... I guess they were told there's a no Batman rule. Well, I guess for this particular show, because they talk about Gotham all the time. Like Vicky Vale's in the show. Like Vicky Vale, the reporter. Like they bring up the Gotham Gazette and everything. But apparently they can't use Batman for this series, so that might not happen. Now, that's not to say they couldn't do a My Adventures of Batman show, I think, down the line. But they, for whatever reason, I fucking hate that rule. It's been a weird rule instituted at Warner Brothers, for like years for some reason, where certain people can't use Batman for like whatever the reason is. And I think what it has to do is like, oh, people get confused if Batman's and everything or this character's and that. It's like, no, they fucking won't. You think the same audiences? It's like it's people are going to be able to know that that David Cornsweat's Superman is different from Jack Quaid's Superman, right? It's so odd to me. So I would love it if Batman showed up for like an episode. That'd be great, but apparently we shouldn't expect that. Now, I would love a My Adventures of Batman like series. Please, let's go. And where it's a father-son story. between like Dick Grayson, Robin, and Bruce. Give it to me now. Inject into my veins. Yeah, I love the Will Billy in this show, yeah. What was the first line uttered in the beginning of season 2? That's a very specific question. I mean, it's been, I mean, listen, like the first episode I watched, I don't know, 10 weeks ago, I think. So I don't remember the first line. I don't remember the first line. I'm sure it was a good one though. I think it was a good one. What was the first episode? I'm trying to think. What was the first episode focused on them going into the prison? I don't remember. That might have been the second episode. But I don't remember the first line uttered in the beginning of season 2. That's what stopped Batman or Bruce Wayne from appearing in Smallville. Yeah, I hate that rule. I hate that fucking rule. Maybe next season we'll get Crypto. Yeah, maybe. That'd be cool. That would make sense. Gotham couldn't use the name Joker because of the movie Joker. That is so dumb. It is so dumb. I don't get that. Who institutes those rules? We want to voice Batman in My Adventures of Batman. That's a great question. The thing is, I want them maybe to go with someone you wouldn't expect, because I don't think any of us would have picked like Jack Quaid to voice Clark Kent, Kal-El, Superman. I don't think that would have been on a short list, but if it just like it worked, Man, yeah, who would be really good? Maybe get someone that's similar age to like Jack Quaid, because he's in his early 30s right now. I'm trying to think. It doesn't really matter as a voice actor. I'm just thinking like, they're the characters themselves are like the same age. That's what it should be. Man, that's a great question. Who should they get to voice Bruce Wayne, Batman in animated form? Damn, I don't know. What voice actor would do like a really good job? That's a great question. Do you have an idea, Deadpool? Who would you want? It's been long enough. Maybe My Adventures of Superman can use Temu Batman from the Gotham series. Temu Batman. I'm not familiar with that. For example, season 2 was the Valentine's Day one. Okay, that was a cute episode. Yeah, that's right. It was like it was my Valentine's Day with my girlfriend. I think that's what it was called. If they did Adventures with Batman, I would like a younger Bruce Wayne and Kid Robin. Oh yeah, I think Bruce would be as old as Clark is, because Clark is 22 in this. He's super young. Like I want to say he's 22 or 23. Like he's fresh out of college. Like they were interns at the Daily Planet, right in the beginning of the first season. And so I think a Batman who's around the same age, like maybe 25 the oldest. I think that could work. I kind of like Jason Ackles from You can do that, and he's voiced Batman in. He's been voicing Batman. He did in the Long Halloween movies. I think he's in those Crisis movies most recently. He also did Jason Todd in Batman Under the Red Hood, and he did such a great job with that. I love that movie. There's Batman, but I would rather he be cast for the live-action Batman. But if not, I'm fine with him continuing to be animated Batman. That'd be cool. So there they go. He's a good choice. He's a solid choice. The guy they had doing the voice of Batman, Cape Crusader, is not the one most would pick. But yeah, Diedrich Bader. I'm probably mispronouncing his name. He was great because he had that kind of classic golden age Batman, that radio voice, if you will, something like that. Joker, you dastardly foe, like something. I think that's cool. Tim is a website that sells cheaply made products. Oh! You're talking about like the guy because he looked. Yeah, I remember seeing the bat costume that he had, and it looked pretty fucking rough. Yeah, you're not wrong. Round training for sure. Yeah, I get patron passes Batman where it's less experienced Batman, albeit with a more lighthearted tone. Similar to this. Yes, I think so. Yeah, I don't mind if it's like lighthearted certainly, but then like these last few episodes, it got really dark. It really did, especially when Kara and Brainiac come in. Brainiac's just. What he does and what you find out he did, it's just like, dude, it's great. So, yeah, they could still tell those pretty dark stories, like even if they would bring in like other Batman villains like the Joker or Scarecrow or Two-Face, like they can definitely get as dark as this got towards the end. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think about who I would cast as well. Jensen Ackles is a solid choice. I have no issues with that. Like, he's already proved himself. He's great. You can do it. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Maybe it'd be kind of fun to cast like a voice actor who previously did Robin, and now he's like now going to be doing the voice of Batman. I don't know. That'd be kind of interesting. I don't know, like a Lauren Lester. That'd be kind of cool. Wouldn't that be interesting casting? Maybe it's a little bit of like stunt casting, but yeah, it's like Lauren Lester, of course, is the voice of Dick Grayson Robin in Batman the Animated Series and the various movies and things. That'd be kind of cool. Like, yeah, you'll be the voice of Bruce Wayne Batman. I was like, yeah, I'd throw that out there. That'd be neat. Remember, did the voice of Harvey Dent in Cape Crusade. That's right. Patrick Bader voiced Batman Brave and the Bold, and then Harley Quinn. That's right. He's the voice of Harley, and he does a great job. He does a great job in that. Hamish Linklater currently is the voice of Batman Cape Crusade, and he's doing a good job too. I'm going to be doing my review for Batman Cape Crusader. I've watched about half the episodes so far, and I'll share. I want to do a full review. I just want to be able to watch. I'm going to try to watch a few more tonight and maybe do a review either for tomorrow or Wednesday. Save that to look forward to. But I thought, since I watched My Adventures Superman, let me go through all these episodes and we'll get to it. I thought of an idea for the show. I would see Lobo voiced by Spike Spiegel. Oh, Steve Blum. Oh, hell yeah. He fucking perfect for it. Yeah, you want to bring in Lobo. That'd be cool. Yeah. Oh, God. I went down the wrong pipe there. Sorry, chap. Excuse me. But yeah, in any case, like I said, I love this show. I recommend it. If maybe the animation, I think it might grow on you. I think it might grow on you just because of the writing and the voice acting performances, from the actors, and just really cool takes on familiar characters. I think you're going to really, especially when it comes to Kara and Brainiac. I can't recommend it even higher. I recommend it. That'd be awesome. Getting Lauren Lester as Batman, he would be good. Hamish Linklater as Batman so far would be awesome to see him do Batman. They could, yeah. If he wants to just have him be the new Batman voice actor, I have no problem with that. But yeah, no, I'm kind of like, Lauren Lester, I want to see what he could do. I think that'd be kind of cool. It's like, look at that. Now you've grown into Batman now. I think that'd be neat. A former rabbit, I imagine they get pretty. That would be, you know what, man? I wouldn't. Like, Chris O'Donnell, his whole career, just ever since those movies. Because he's a good actor. Is he still working? I imagine he's still working. Those fucked up his career. That'd be kind of fun. Sure. I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, give him a chance. Give him a chance. Let the boy try, Let the boy try. Oh, Lord. But, Jarvie, speaking of Jensen Ackles, did you hear because of the failure of the Supernatural prequel series, CW's in talks to bring back the main show? Again? They did that for 15 seasons, 15 years. It's gone. Oh, my God. I thought CW is over. I don't know how it ended because I haven't got that far yet. No spoilers. No, I watched the first episode. I watched the first episode like when it debuted when I was in middle school. That's how long ago this was, chat. And what was it? And I watched another when I was in college during my undergrad. We went to the museum of the Metropolitan Art Museum in New York, but we took a bus there, and I sat next to this person who was watching Supernatural on their iPad, but he had subtitles open, so I also watched alongside him, but silently. That's my only exposure to. Oh, I did see the Scooby-Doo episode though. That was actually funny. I did like that episode. There was that. I think Jensen Ackles is done because he's doing the. I mean, when are they going to do that? Because he's doing the Boys. He's doing Boys season 5. They announced another Boys spinoff with him. Which most likely means he's not going to be Batman. I think that's the other thing. Like live action, that is. It's just like, well, if he's got all these other projects coming up, they're going to do Boys season 5, and he's doing the spinoff before then. So he's most likely. I don't know. Maybe he went in. Maybe he was considered. But I know for a lot of people that was their like a big popular choice, and I think he could have pulled it off. I had no issues with him being cast as Batman. He fucking has experience with it, no doubt. So, but yeah, we'll see. I could see Kristen Noun's voice work as Batman for that. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Yeah, I kind of want them to go outside the box of the casting. I think that's okay because they certainly did with Jack Quaid, and it worked wonders. So, but yeah, chap. Yeah, no, I'm glad you guys like this review. And I'm glad you liked the show. For those of you who watched it, and if you haven't, check it out when you have the opportunity.